fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. Hope everybody had a great week. I did. Went on vacation, went to Disney World, took the family. And so I'm still exhausted. This is Sunday morning. We got back at midnight Thursday and still haven't caught up on sleep. Of course, I did watch the fights last night, UFC. I think that was over with, 12:30 this morning. And so, yeah, you can tell it in my voice. I can tell by listening to myself that I'm bushed. But, yeah, I took the family down to Disney World. It's the first time my grandson's been down there. He's 10. And so we had a ball. We had a great time. But, man, it's exhausting if you've ever been. It's constant walking. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you're walking or standing in line. And so, but we had a great time. I'm going to cover a few things today. Two things that are killing us, and I'm going to cover those. Also, we'll have some fun at the end of this thing. Two somber things at the beginning, but we'll have some fun at the end. Make sure you stay to the end of this episode. We're going to have some fun with my man, Lucian. And we'll just keep going after Lucian. He'll appreciate it, I'm sure. But, yeah, remember, Mallory. I'm going to start it off thanking Mallory. Get on from 8arbitration.com and make sure you show Mallory some love. She does so much for the City Letter Carrier craft, so much. And everything that she does on from 8arbitration.com is to help you. She does it on her free time. And so if you've ever been on from 8arbitration.com, you understand what I'm talking about. Every episode is highlighted. She'll tell you she broke down every episode, listened to every single episode, her and a few of her friends, and they wrote the commentary for those, put up sites on those. If you go back and find an episode where I was talking about something, you'll see the sites on there. She did all that. So if you get on from 8arbitration.com, you'll see a little thing to go to show her a little love. And I wish you would do that. I wish you'd do that. I wish I had a lot of money. I'd give it to her, because she is invaluable to the City Letter Carrier craft of the things that she does for From 8 Arbitration. All right. And so Discord and Reddit, make sure you're getting on Discord and Reddit. Now, Discord and Reddit right now are the all-stars, because one of the things that we're dealing with nationally is heat safety and heat awareness. Two of our brothers have passed away already. And you wouldn't know that because National's not said the first damn thing about it. We even have an establishment podcast. Didn't say the first damn thing about it. And so they are. Discord and Reddit, we're all over it. And talking about heat safety, heat awareness. And we're going to talk about that today a little bit, all right? Some grievances we're going to file. Next week we'll continue on with heat safety, heat awareness, because we're going to get our people ready. The City Letter Carriers will get our people ready on what to expect, what to look for, grievances we're going to file when management fails in their obligation to us under Article 14 to give us a safe working environment. And we're going to do that today, start it off today, and some other things, all right? One of the first things we're going to talk about is in June, there are a lot of things that are observed in June. One of them, obviously, is Pride Month. And I've always said that the City Letter Carrier craft is the most diverse group of individuals in the country and probably in the world. Every workroom floor is the most diverse group of individuals that you'll see. And all of them are welcome here because we're all the same family. If you look at the vote on the TA, it took all of us to vote that down. Next year, when we vote out the establishment, it's going to take all of us to do that. And that diversity is what makes us so strong. We're all welcome here in this family, light blue, all right? There are no tags on anybody. We're all light blue. And so Pride Month obviously is the one that you hear about the most. And we respect everyone here, right? No matter what color you are, no matter what religion you are, no matter what political affiliation you have, we're all welcome here. Our money is all green when we're paying those dues, right? And so everybody's welcome in this family. And we will love every single one of us, right? We will love every single one. And that's just how it is. And so that's what makes us so strong, and we'll continue to be that way. But the thing I want to focus on today is something that has hit home with us, especially our brothers up in Branch 41 Merged, and the loss of a brother. And then I saw the other day on social media where we lost another brother. Not sure what craft, but it was a young man and that took his life. And this month specifically, and it hit home because of our loss up there in Branch 41 Merged, where our dear brother took his life. And but this month specifically is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you haven't recently, please check in on any of your guy friends and see how they're doing. Something we should do more often as guys that we really don't do often enough is check in on one another. And also for you ladies out there, you can check in on your guy friends as well. It's pretty well known that men find it easier to talk to their women friends than their guy friends. Although we really want to try to break that stigma and have men having conversations with other men. So how are you guys doing? And so that's the thing that popped up on social media the other day. And it's a great topic to talk about because for some reason, there is a rash of this going on right now with our brothers and sisters. They're choosing to take their own life. And that can never be the option. That can never be the option. And so I'm going to talk about a few things here today, some numbers that you can call, things that we're going to look for with our people, right? Because we love each other. And that's the thing that makes us so strong. I said at the very beginning of this thing when I first started, you got to love the city letter carrier. If you love the city letter carrier, everything else, it will fall into place. Everything. Win or lose, if you love the city letter carrier, we're going to have your back, right? And that's what I've always said. It goes further than that, right? When we're on the workroom floor, you got to love the city letter carrier. You got to love your brothers and sisters. I always tell my carriers whenever I do a stand-up talk, I love them. Make sure to tell y'all every episode, I love you. Because it's very important for you to understand that people out there do love you, okay? And so I'm going to give you some stats that talks about kind of reinforcing what we're talking about. Approximately 1 in 10 men experience depression or anxiety, yet less than half seek treatment. You're not alone. Men's mental health matters. Let's break the silence. Speak up, reach out, and support one another. 3 times as many men as women die by suicide. Men are wrongly taught at a young age expressing emotion is weak. And I'll read that again. Men are wrongly taught at a young age expressing emotion is weak, and that is so true. Men aged 40 to 49 have the highest suicide rates. Men report lower levels of life satisfaction than women. Men are less likely to seek medical help than women. 525,000 men every year, 10,096 men per week, 1,442 men every day, 60 men every hour, 1 man every 60 seconds die by suicide. I'll read those stats again. 525,000 men every year, 10,096 men per week, 1,442 men every day, 60 men every hour, 1 man every 60 seconds die by suicide. And there's nothing more devastating than suicide. Nothing. It devastates those left behind because they, for the rest of their lives, will be asking why, or what could they have done, or what did they do? And there's nothing more devastating than suicide. You know, you can, like with my brother when he passed, I knew why he was passing. You know, if it's something immediate, those things happen, a car wreck or whatever. But suicide is somebody choosing to take their own life and leaving behind absolute destruction. Absolute destruction. And so June is also officially, and this goes hand in hand, especially with vets, June is officially designated as PTSD Awareness Month in the United States. This month serves as a time to raise awareness about post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. reduce stigma, and encourage support for individuals affected by trauma. National Day calendar also recognizes June 27th as National PTSD Awareness Day. And those things go hand in hand. PTSD, you talk about veterans, and a lot of those end up taking their lives that have PTSD. And it says key aspects of PTSD Awareness Month, raising awareness. The month is dedicated to educating the public about PTSD, its symptoms, causes, and the importance of seeking help. Reducing stigma. PTSD is a mental health condition that can affect anyone, regardless of age, background, or occupation. Awareness campaigns aim to destigmatize PTSD and encourage open conversations about mental health challenges. Encouraging support. The month provides an opportunity to highlight available resources and treatment options for those struggling with PTSD. And again, National PTSD Awareness Day, June 27th. This specific day is a call to action focusing on raising awareness and providing support for individuals living with PTSD. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, can occur in individuals with ALS. According to a study published in Science Direct, the study found that approximately 30% of ALS patients experience PTSD. PTSD in this context can be associated with the physical and emotional challenges of living with ALS, which may include progressive muscle weakness, difficulty with communication, and the psychological impact of the disease. And so I wanted to talk about that initially, right off the jump, because we did lose our brother up in Branch 41 Merged, and it's devastated that branch. If you've seen social media, they are hurting. That's as a close-knit group as you'll ever see up in Branch 41 Merged. I've been up there numerous times, and they are a family. When you talk about the light blue, the family, the love that we have for each other, they are the perfect example of that. And so to have one of theirs choose to take their own life, it's devastated them, rightfully so. And so I wanted to bring awareness to it. You know, what little can I do to bring awareness to it? I want to do it. And with June being this month that deals with it, I wanted to talk about it. We'll talk about this, and then we're going to talk about the numbers you can call, okay? It says, look, listen, and be aware. Signs of suicide. Sometimes people let us know through their actions that they are having severe difficulties coping with the stress, anxiety, and or depression in their life, and maybe choosing death by suicide as a way out. Being aware of these actions and signs of suicidal ideation may help save someone's life. The below signs are examples of what you might see or hear from those contemplating suicide. Giving away valuable or meaningful possessions. And here's just for instances. Julie has had her dog, Buddy, for over 3 years, and just recently she asked me if I could take him because she doesn't feel able to care for him right now. Speaking of not being around for the future, I just can't take it anymore. I just can't do this anymore. Brian mentioned this in passing and then said nothing more about it. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I let it go. Discussing, fixating on death or suicide. Amy shared with me some of her writings and discussed her interest and fascination with death. One of her closest friends committed suicide last month. Additional signs: having reckless and dangerous behavior, increasing the use of alcohol and or drugs, sleep issues, too much or too little, not taking basic care of self, having a history of suicide attempts, putting personal business in order, neglecting doctor's orders, increased anger and intensified mood swings, withdrawing, isolating, disconnecting from others, decline in personal appearance, rapid improvement in mood. The decision has been made, which relieves the internal struggle. If you or someone you know has these thoughts, actions, or signs, do not ignore them. Get help for yourself or that person. Call your EAP to discuss your concerns or visit eapforyou.com to get more information and resources. It's the phone number is 800-EAP-FOR-YOU, 800-327-4968, 800-EAP-FOR-YOU, 800-327-4968. And that's a number we can call because we've got to take care of each other. We've got to take care of each other. I mean, this job right now is as stressful as I've ever seen it. in my 32 years, right? With the Postal Service, complete shit. Nobody knows what's going on with this administration. Our union is nowhere to be found. We've got to take care of each other as city letter carriers. We will do that. We will do that. And this is where it's going to start, all right? With June being this awareness month, the loss of our brother and Branch 41 merged. Also, you hear about it on social media, like I said. More and more of our brothers and sisters are choosing this path, and they cannot. We have got to take care of each other. We've got to. Here's another number that we can call. It's 988. 988. It says the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. 988 is the designated 3-digit dialing code that will route callers to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Now known as the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, when people call or text 988, they'll be connected to trained counselors that will listen, provide support, and connect them to resources if necessary. If you or someone you know is experiencing mental health crisis, call or text 988 immediately. The previous Lifeline phone number, 1-800-273-8255, will always remain available to people in emotional distress or suicidal crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provides free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the United States. They, along with your EAP, are committed to improving crisis services and advancing suicide prevention by empowering individuals, advancing professional best practices, and building awareness. Reach out to your EAP to learn more or visit eapforyou.com. And so 988, that's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Because like I said, we've got to take care of each other. We've got to. If people show any of those signs, talk to them. Talk to them. We've got to love each other. We've got to take care of each other because we're all we've got. Trust me, we're all we've got. I am not an expert at this at all. I'm not an expert, but you can call me and I'll talk to you. I don't care day or night. Day or night, call me. If you just need somebody to talk to, I've talked to a bunch of people on my route all the time. People call me at night, I talk to them. If you just need somebody to talk to, I'll talk to you. And my number is 615-686-9595. 615-686-9595. If you just need somebody to talk to, call me. Because I love you. I do. I love Light Blue more than anything on this planet. It's what I've done for 32 years. And so I do not want to see my people go through this. I hate it. I hate seeing the devastation that it leaves behind. If you look at Branch 41 right now merged, they are struggling big time because of it, because one of the people that they love has chosen, to take their own life. And again, you see it more and more for some reason. It's happening. And this isn't the first one. It's an epidemic for some reason right now. And but just know that there are people out there that love you. There are people out there that love you. This can never be the option. It can never be the option. All right. And so I wanted to start this episode out. I know that it's very somber, but it's real. It is real. And my people are hurting. And so what little I can do, I'm going to do it. If it helps one person, it'd be worth it, right? If it helps one person, it'll be worth it. So again, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm an expert talker. And so if you need somebody to talk to, I promise you, call me day or night, man. We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. All right. But that can't be the option. Secondly, another thing that's killing my people is heat. We've already had 2 of our brothers die from the heat. You wouldn't know that because National, again, has dropped the fucking ball on that. They have not mentioned the first damn thing about it. And I don't understand that. I do not understand how we cannot recognize our brothers and sisters out here that pass away on the route or do what, just like the Branch 41 merge, putting that out there. I know that Mike Cariff, they had something about it. Of course, the CLC did. John Cruz is running on the CLC ticket. as a trustee. And so they are recognizing those that they love, the city letter carrier. The ones who do not recognize us is our agent, the NELC. And that's wild to me how they can't do that. I don't get it. Well, I do get it, because like I've said, you've got to love the city letter carrier with all your heart. You've got to love the city letter carrier, especially if you're going to be our agent. You have to love the city letter carrier. And right now, our establishment does not. Hell, you have an establishment podcast out right now. No mention of our brother who took his own life. No mention of those that have died on their routes. I don't get it. I just don't. I will never get that. How the agent, those who should love us most, because that's what you have chosen to do, is represent us, fail to recognize us. We will do that here. We will do that here. We will recognize the city letter carrier here. All right. The first thing we're going to talk about today, and the next week we're going to talk more about heat safety, heat awareness, grievances, and we'll just keep doing that. But I've talked about this before. It's the scanner messages that continue to come out today. Those scanner messages take approved rest breaks to beat the heat, whatever. And I see it on social media. You'll always have those people come in there, and when it says take approved rest breaks to beat the heat, they'll say, well, we all know that every break is approved in the heat. You take breaks as needed in the heat. No, we don't always know that. And everybody doesn't know that. New hires, it's an extremely dangerous scanner messages for new hires, for CCAs, for PTFs. It's extremely dangerous to put that out there, because you'll have a CCA walk into your station and they'll have on blue jeans, tennis shoes, a t-shirt, and a bottle of water. That's what they will walk in here with on day one. And we will always tell them when they walk in our station, hey, do you have a cooler? No, get you a cooler. Plenty of drinks. Hydrate constantly. My carriers are very good at that. They will always meet the CCA at the door. Where's your cooler at? I don't have one. Let's get you something. We have a gas station next door that's got styrofoam coolers. And because a lot of yard crews go around through there, and so they'll sell styrofoam coolers. We'll get them a styrofoam cooler so that they'll have something. And so we will make sure that we take care of those CCAs. Those scanner messages are deadly. They just are. Anytime management comes out and says, take approved breaks to beat the heat, that message is deadly. And so we're going to address that today again. Mallory's going to put this up for you. This is a grievance that I filed a while back, and it was in 2020, matter of fact. And it talked about the scanner messages when they came out, because when the scanner message came out in 2020, when I saw that, I said, that's deadly. That's a deadly message to my people, especially my new hires. I know I take breaks as needed in the heat. I know that. Management can never tell me anything other than that. They can't tell me I'm going to take breaks as needed in the heat. I'm going to leave my route and go to an air-conditioned building if I get overcome with heat. I'm just going to do that. So I know that, but I've been here 32 years. I'm well aware of what I'm supposed to do in summer months. New hires are not. They are pushed constantly from the time they get in that door to the time they become regular. They're pushed. And so this is for them, to protect them, all right? The grievance, and I'll just read the grievance. But here's the formal Step A resolution, and it was JB who met on it. And it says, did management violate Articles 14 and 19 of the National Agreement when they sent a message over the city letter carrier scanner informing city letter carriers that they could only take breaks from the heat on approved rest breaks? Now, when you tell somebody what's an approved rest break or an approved break, if you go into our handbooks and manuals, what does it say? You have 2 10-minute breaks and a lunch break, and they cannot be together, right? 2 10-minute breaks and a lunch break, they cannot be together. So to me, if I'm a new hire, that's my approved break, is one of those 2 10-minute breaks or my lunch period. Those are the designated brakes or approved brakes. Right? So when they send a scanner message saying approved rest brakes, I take exception to that. Because you never know when you're going to have to take a break in the heat. It could come upon you like that, and you're going to have to take a break. And then it says, did management violate Articles 15 and 19 because I had dealt with this before, something similar to this. It says, as a result of a formal Step A meeting of the dispute resolution process, we the parties agree to the following resolution of this grievance. The formal A parties agree management's corporate communications message, when possible, take approved rest breaks to beat the heat, is not in compliance with DRT resolution for the national installation B440-715 and agreed to resolve this grievance with the following instructions. Upon 7 days from decision, management will conduct a stand-up talk with the following information which states, stay healthy in the heat. Hot weather is here and extreme heat can be very dangerous. Every year on average, extreme heat causes 658 deaths in the United States. Remember these 3 things when working outside during hot weather. You need plenty of water throughout the day, 8 ounces of water every 20 minutes. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Take breaks as needed to help your body recover, and that's the most important thing. Take breaks as needed to help your body recover. Resting in the shade or in air conditioning helps you cool down. It's important to know the signs of heat-related illnesses. Acting quickly can prevent more serious medical conditions and may even save lives. And so that's the resolution that JB came up with. And so in my station, they had to do the stand-up talk. And so that last bullet point, resting in the shade or in air conditioning helps you cool down. And so I've always told my people, if you are overcome with heat or getting overcome with heat, and you can tell it, leave your route and go to a business and get in the air conditioning and get your core temperature down. This is about saving our lives. Management doesn't care. Just like the individual that passed away had been sitting there for 2 hours. Said they had a 2-hour stationary event. 2 hours this individual sat there, and they finally send a CCA out there to check on him. That's our brother, dead, for 2 hours. You got all this technology, right? And they could not, for some reason, see that somebody was in distress. 2 hours of a stationary event. And they finally send a CCA out there that had to witness that. It's neglect. They're irresponsible. They do not care about us. They just do not. And so we have to do this ourselves, just like National. They didn't come out with anything about the passing of our brothers in the heat. Nothing about that. They had something political on there about the heat. You had this podcast, the Establishment podcast that came out. Nothing about our brothers that had passed away. Nothing about the precautions to take. It's because they do not love the city letter carrier. They're in it for themselves. We are not. We will handle this on the workroom floor, just like Discord and Reddit. The second that our brother passed away, Discord and Reddit jumped all over it. They're saying, where's National? Where's National at? Why is nobody talking about this? Bring awareness to this. They're saying, here's what we need to do. Here's the steps we need to take. And that's why those things are important for people like that, to get on there and understand heat awareness, heat stress awareness, what we're going to do, how we're going to handle those things, because on the workroom floor, we're all we've got. And so I will always tell my people, get in the shade, or if you have to, leave your route and go get in the air conditioning. I can fight that all day long. If management wants to come at us and say, hey, you deviated from your route, I damn sure did. Or this carrier damn sure did, because they were overcome with the heat. Why didn't they call? Well, maybe they weren't in the physical capacity to understand things as simple as calling. Because that's what happens when you get overcome. You're thinking about self-preservation. In the file that we put up is my issue statement and also the remedy. Now, back in 2015, we filed a huge safety grievance for the city. And I'll talk about it next week. but it's one that I put together. Dave Clark, my president, he met on it because in case I needed to be the advocate for it for the national installation, I made sure he met at Formal A. That way I'd have a witness for Formal A, if that makes sense. And so it was back in the time that I had either just stepped down at the National Safety Committee, but had Manny as a good resource and put together a case back in 2015 about heat awareness, what our managers were doing. They were telling carriers they did not get any extra breaks for the heat. That's what managers were saying. You don't get any extra breaks for the heat. You get 2 10-minute breaks. You don't get anything extra. So we filed a huge grievance on that. We won that. And so this grievance was also dealing with that one as a non-compliance, okay, even though it's 5 years later, and we won it. But you'll have the issue statement, the remedy. I took a picture of the scanner message all the way back. You'll see it's the old scanner. All the way back then, when possible, take approved rest breaks to beat the heat. That's in there. And then my informal Step A contentions are in there because, like I said, I always write contentions for the informal Step A because I want to testify to those if it goes to hearing. I don't want anybody to testify for me. So here's the contentions, informal Step A contentions on 4/18/20. Corporate Communications sent out the following message over the carrier scanners. When possible, take approved rest breaks to beat the heat. Under Section 242.34 of the M39 Handbook, it describes the carrier's approved breaks as follows. 242.34 Street Time Allied Work Rules. 242.341 The carriers at the delivery unit will receive 2 10-minute break periods. The local union may annually opt to have either A, both breaks on the street, or B, one of the 10-minute breaks in the office and one break on the street. If 2 10-minute breaks are taken on the street, they'll be separate from each other. Breaks must be separate from the lunch period. The carrier shall record on PS Form 1564A delivery instructions the approximate location of the breaks. Reasonable comfort stops will not be deducted from the carrier's actual time. And so I put that in there to show these are the approved breaks. So when a carrier thinks of approved breaks, this is what they're thinking of. This language here. A lot of managers, because of this hour office time, are telling carriers they no longer have an office break. They're telling them they have to take their breaks on the street, both of them. That's a deadly instruction because now you're forcing me on the street longer. I have a 10-minute break I can take in the office in the air conditioning. They're telling us, no, you can't. You can no longer take breaks in the office. You have to take them on the street just to meet this metric of an hour office time. Now you see all these people coming out saying there's 45 minutes now because of this reduction in office time. And so this is what you'll use if they're doing that. Section 242.341. The carrier at the delivery unit will receive 2 10-minute break periods. The local union may annually opt to have either A, both breaks on the street, or B, one of the 10-minute breaks in the office and one break on the street. So it's not management. They have nothing to do with it. It says the local union may annually opt to have those things. So if management's coming in and saying, hey, you can no longer take your break in the office, you're going to file on a past practice, and you're also going to file on Section 242.341 of the M39 Handbook, all right? And now that's their handbook. It goes on, this message was almost identical to the message local management has stated in the past when instructing carriers how to deal with the heat. It is ignorant, uneducated, and deadly. In B-Team Decision 487-15, the union dealt with local management's ignorance as it pertains to instructions that directly and intentionally place carriers in harm's way. That decision instructed management in the national installation as follows. The DRT agrees management will adhere to the above language in dealing with future heat-related issues. The DRT further agrees carriers are allowed comfort stops as needed, and management will refrain from denying these types of stops. This message sent out over the scanner on 4/18/20 was in direct violation of B-Team Decision 487-15. Management's constant attempt to relegate city carriers to a set number of breaks when dealing with heat-related issues is disturbing and careless. The following information was included in the decision. Stay healthy in the heat. Hot weather is here and extreme heat can be very dangerous. Every year on average, extreme heat causes 658 deaths in the United States. Remember these 3 things when working outside during hot weather. 1. You need plenty of water throughout the day. 8 ounces of water every 20 minutes. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. 2. Take breaks as needed to help your body recover. 3. Resting in the shade or in air conditioning helps you cool down. It's important to know the signs of heat-related illnesses. Acting quickly can prevent more serious medical conditions and may even save lives. It is hard to believe that a district manager that forces entire groups, ops, labor, nurses, human resources, postmasters, safety, etc., to go out on safety blitzes in an attempt to catch letter carriers doing something wrong would be so out of touch with real safety issues that he would allow this to go out over the letter carrier scanners. Maybe if he did less micromanaging and less telecons, he could step up and be a true champion of city letter carrier safety. Now, this is all the way back in 20, talking about these safety blitzes, and we see them doing more and more of these, and I'll talk about another one here in just a second. But that's what I wanted to attack. You got all these people going out there doing these safety blitzes. Maybe if he did less micromanaging and less telecons, he could step up and be a true champion of city letter carrier safety. So I was taking a swipe at the district manager, just because. And then I talked about Articles 17 and 31 because I asked specifically to talk to the individual who put that on the scanner. I said, I want to talk to the individual who put that out over the scanner. And they wouldn't let me do that. They wouldn't give me a name. So I filed a 17 and 31 on that as well. I said on 4/20/20, I turned in a request for information and asked for the following information. The name of the person from corporate communications who sent the following message out over the scanners on 4/18/20, which stated, when possible, take approved rest breaks to beat the heat. I never received that information, which prohibited me from interviewing this person and see their intent or further request internal documentation or memorandums, because I wanted to see where it came from and why. Right? That's what we do. And so you'll have my information request in there, and then you'll also have, and we'll go over this next week, the grievance, but it was from 2015, and the decision by the DRT back then was the dispute resolution team has resolved this grievance. The DRT agrees East Station Management violated the national agreement when they disallowed rest cool-off periods for carriers during period of excessive heat. The DRT agrees Ronnie Patton will complete LMS course, their heat stress recognition and prevention, with a copy provided to the union upon completion no later than 30 days from receipt of this decision. The DRT agrees carriers felt intimidated and threatened by Manager Patton's comments regarding disallowance of heat-related breaks. The DRT agrees the comments were inappropriate. The DRT agrees management should not violate the joint statement of violence in the workplace, and will also maintain a mutually respectful atmosphere with employees who are to be treated with dignity and respect at all times. The issue of intimidation is inappropriate. The DRT agrees the issue is best resolved via application of items similar to that found in M1860, and that's the most important thing we'll have when dealing with the heat is M1860. The parties recognize that heat abatement is an essential element of on-the-job safety for city letter carriers in all locations where city letter carriers are exposed to excessive heat. Additionally, the parties understand and agree that it may be necessary for individual city letter carriers to take additional breaks when the heat index is under the threshold set above 103 degrees. City letter carriers taking an extra break under this provision must alert management of the beginning and conclusion of the break. And so that will all be in here. And so we're going to start out today. We're going to start addressing heat safety, even though it's already into June. Probably should have done this a month ago to get us ready. But the scanner messages are already coming out, right? The scanner messages are already coming out. The same scanner message I agreed back in 20. And so there's a grievance for you. The case file will be up for you on from arbitrationcom. If you want to go on there, you can pull this out. We'll start filing grievances on management for putting these scanner messages out. That's where we'll start, because every year they know we're going to take breaks as needed in the heat. They're trying to do these auto pivots. They're trying to do this 45-minute office time, all these things to keep us out there longer. And so taking away our breaks in the office, we've got to fight fire with fire. We've got to fight them, right? We've got to meet them head on in the street. That's what we always talk about. They put these countermeasures out at the beginning of the year. We're going to file on them. And next year, we're going to probably have this same episode, the same grievance, because nothing is more important than the safety of the city letter carrier. Nothing. We've got to take care of each other. And I appreciate Discord and Reddit for doing that, for getting out there and jumping all over that when this first came out. And so there's the initial grievance that we're going to file for heat safety. We've got to take care of each other. We've got to take care of each other. We've got to get people in place at the NELC that understand the importance of the city letter carrier. We're not just money. We're not just somebody that pays your bills. And that's what we're looked on. That's how we're looked at right now by our national, is we're the ones who pay their bills. They do not look at us as anything other than that. And money will always be the determining factor for the Postal Service and our union. I've said that. How many episodes have I said that? That we have been abandoned by both of them. We have been abandoned for money's sake. And I'll talk about a little bit about that when I get on this establishment. Two things that I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to jump all over the establishment. But two other things just quickly. Somebody sent me this the other day, and this is kind of what we're talking about, the ignorance of management and how much they despise us. This is an email that was sent out the other day, and it says, Safety Infraction Street Observations. This has now been named a daily requirement. This is due by 3 p.m. CST daily. The Teams page will be accordingly. Reporting that wheels are not curbed on a vehicle will not be accepted as a finding. Reporting that wheels are not curbed on a vehicle will not be accepted as a finding. It says all is a safety infraction, and stay out until one is found. Make sure you upload your 4584s to MSOT. So they're telling them it's a safety infraction and stay out until one is found. Now, what do y'all think is fixing to happen right there? When management, upper management tells the supervisors and whoever else is going out, it's a safety infraction and you're going to stay out there until you find one. It goes on. All officers are to perform street observations. I will need to number this is spelled wrong. I will need to number the of 4584s per office and summary infractions found. I will have a Teams page set up. So they're telling them that they're going to do a street observation. Curbing your wheels is no longer an acceptable excuse or accepted as a finding. And you're going to stay out there all day until you find one, until you find an infraction. And so you're fixing to have people written up that had no idea they've been written up. That's basically what that is. They're going to have 4584s that say that they did find a carrier, this carrier here. The carrier probably has no idea that anybody came out there. But you're fixing to see a massive amount of falsification coming on right here. Because when anytime upper management says you're going to stay out there until you find an infraction, they're not going to take it that, well, I was out there all day, I didn't find one. They're not going to take that as a reason or as an excuse or as an answer. They're just not going to. Y'all know management, I know management. So you're going to have a lot of people with 4584s, and management probably didn't even go out there. You're probably going to have fake investigative interviews, fake discipline. We see those all the time. So just beware of those things. That management's been told at this certain location, this is in Indiana, that the teams will be out and they're going to stay out all day until they find an infraction, curbing the wheels. All right. When I say that we don't hate them enough, we don't hate them enough. To tell somebody you're going to stay out there all day until you find an infraction, what else do y'all do? Why are y'all needed? I think a lot of these things are because they're scared of the new administration coming in and clearing house now that they're getting in their business. And you see a lot of ignorance coming out of national, out of headquarters. You see them coming up. You have 3 guys making ain't no telling how much money to come up with a plan to put us all off the clock if we're not wearing a seatbelt. Those are things designed to say, hey, I am important. Here's the things that I've done. When they're saying if you're not touching the mail, you need to be concerned about your job. What do? Well, we came up with this entire plan that if you don't have a seatbelt on, send you home. What are you doing? Well, I came up with this plan that we're going to stay out all day long driving around in air-conditioned cars looking for somebody's wheels not curbed. And so to me, it's just an excuse to show somebody, hey, I am relevant. I am relevant because I've come up with this plan. I make $200,000 a year, and I came up with this plan here to go out and find people with their wheels not curbed. I came up with this plan to put people off the clock if they don't have their seatbelts on. That's what this is about. To me, that's what I feel. Another thing, district manager came out and told, I saw this online the other day, and when I went to go answer it, I lost it, and I couldn't answer this thing, and I searched everywhere so that I could answer this person's question, or to help with this person's question. But they said that a district manager had told their district, any accident, no matter what, any accident, put the carriers off the clock. At fault, not at fault, anything. Any accident, put the carrier, the protocol is to put the carrier off the clock for the day, and then we'll address it later. If you go to page 29.2 of the JCAM, Article 29, 29.2, number 2, the mere fact that an employee was involved in a vehicle accident is not sufficient to warrant automatic suspension or revocation of driving privileges or the automatic application of discipline. I'll read that again. The mere fact that an employee was involved in a vehicle accident is not sufficient to warrant automatic suspension or revocation of driving privileges. And so that's what you're doing. If you come out there and you say, you've had an accident, you're off the clock. Obviously, that's an automatic suspension of my driving privileges. And so that's something that we will address and we'll put in our issue statement, all right? Did management violate Article 16.7 or Article 16 and Article 29? And we'll put that language in there. It's 29.2, page 29.2. Number 2, the mere fact that an employee was involved in a vehicle accident is not sufficient to warrant automatic suspension or revocation of driving privileges or the automatic application of discipline. All right? And so I apologize. I couldn't get on there fast enough to answer that for you or to put that on there because I think that those do help. I had a rollaway runaway, and Arbitrator Roberts, we cited Article 29, and he included that in his decision. And so that is good for us. It is good for us, Article 29, right, where it states that. And so, well, there's a few things. We got to take care of each other. At the end of the day, the most important thing is us. You've got to love the city letter carrier, period. When you're talking about depression, you're talking about suicide prevention. We're looking out for each other on the workroom floor. People will talk to you. They'll tell you their struggles. Take the time. Take the time to care for them, all right? Those of you who are hurting, we've given you some numbers, all right? I gave you my number. And so it cannot be an option. That cannot be an option ever. You're leaving behind complete devastation when you do that. So many unanswered questions, and for the rest of those individuals' lives, they will be struggling with that. And so it can't be an option, all right? I gave you my number, call me. Seriously, call me day or night. If you need to talk to somebody, like I said, I'm an expert talker. I can talk to you. All right, I love you very much, City Letter Carriers. I love the City Letter Carrier with all my heart. Heat safety, we're going to start dealing with it here. This is the scanner messages. We're going to attack those every time they come out. We're going to attack them. A lot of regions, the presidents say it's not a grievance. Stewards say it's not a grievance. It's a grievance. It's unsafe. We've got to protect our new hires, our CCAs. We've got to protect them, right? And PTFs, it's an irresponsible message. It's a completely, to me, it's a deadly message when you tell people to take approved breaks in the heat. I just think it is, and we're going to deal with it. I also told you on here we're going to go after the establishment. I hate the establishment. I hate the union how it is now. And those in the establishment, I think we have the most incompetent individuals I've ever seen right now in the establishment. We have a new podcast that's the establishment, Jurassic Measures. And we're going to address him today. I'll address the establishment until we get voted in. I'm going to address the establishment. I think they're incompetent pieces of shit. And the way that they have turned their back on the city letter carrier, it infuriates me because I'm a city letter carrier. And I have never seen my union this bad. The president is sorry as hell. The executive vice president is sorry as hell. You have those enablers, business agents, other resident officers that have turned their back on the city letter carrier, and so I'm going to go after them. And that's just what I'm going to do. As a city letter carrier, coming from a city letter carrier, because that's what I do, I'm not happy with my union, and I pay them dues. Every month I pay dues to the union. And so I'm not happy with them. And so what I'll do here is I'll go after them. I'm just going to do that. And so we have a new establishment podcast, Jurassic Measures, with Mr. Lucian Drass. And I think Lucian should fire all of his handlers because he's getting some bad information. And we'll just keep addressing it here. And the bad thing is that listening to him is kind of making me look stupid because I keep telling everybody how smart this guy is. I promise you the guy is smart. I promise you that. A lot of people are messaging me saying that they keep falling asleep in his episodes. Don't do that. The guy is smart. I promise you. He doesn't sound like it right now because he's saying some foolish things, some things that are easily disproven. And we'll have some for instances. And so we're going to have fun with my man, Mr. Lucian, today. We've had some somber things we talked about initially, but we'll end this thing on some fun stuff. He had some witnesses on his episode, if you listen to it. And if you listen to people, and I talked about this last week when I got on Lucian, when you listen to people talk, it says listen twice, speak once. You have to listen to what he says because he's been out of the game too long and he's getting advice from people that obviously have no idea what they're talking about. And so I have things today and I'll prove that, but don't give up on Lucian. Don't give up on him. But we're going to have some fun with him today. One of the things he was talking about, I got on him pretty heavy, if you remember, about him making the dumbest statement ever I was watching from afar. If y'all remember my episode, I jumped on that. Because the one thing you don't do, you don't tell carriers that have been suffering that you've been sitting by watching from afar. And then he came back and said what he was actually doing. And I said, where were you? Where were you when shit was burning down? Where were you? And then he came back and he gave a very touching thing about where he was at. If you remember back, it's been a while. Mike Cariff was on here and we were talking. Mike had brought up this thing called the C-Team. The C-Team. And we talked at length about the C-Team and things that were going on. The C-Team is something that the Postal Service and the union came up with. You have the B-Team. All these cases get in past arbitration. So they implemented this thing called the C-Team. Now what the C-Team does is designed to do is fuck over the city letter carrier. That's what the C-Team is designed to do. What they do is they go in like my region. They had 5,000 cases pending arbitration, 5,000. What the C-Team does is they will go in there and they will wholesale these cases. And so it takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time if you're on the C-Team. So Lou, was asked to be on the C-Team. He did not say, I cannot be on the C-Team because I'm tending to other things. He didn't do that. He said, I will be on the C-Team. I will take that on. I will let the NELC hire me as our designee for the C-Team. Matter of fact, and I don't know why he did this, because I'm saying that he wholesaled these cases. And he's saying I didn't wholesale the cases. That proves that Lou was on the C-Team. I know that he said other things. He did not tell them, no, I cannot come back and help because I'm dealing with something else. He didn't say that. he was on the C team. I have 2 witnesses to prove that he brought on his episode. One was the formal Step A from New Orleans who said, hey, we got more money than we've ever gotten when Lou was on this team. The other, Cliff Stoddard, and I'll talk about him just a second, said, we looked at all of these cases and they got what they were supposed to get. So that tells you that Lou was on the C team. He was a part of that. And so when he's telling you these stories, I was dealing with these other issues and everything like that, he found the time during all of this to come back on the C team and fuck over the region. Now what they do is they will go through these thousands of cases and they will start wholesaling these cases. We had 5,000 cases and I think that they got down to 1,000. I think that they wholesaled 4,000 cases. I said he was wholesaling the cases. He said I didn't. I gave the cases what they were worth, which means that every case was looked through. Thousands of cases, hundreds of cases were looked through to make sure that the carriers were getting what they were due, which is not the case. If you talk to the presidents down there, they will tell you that they were wholesaled. And so Lou was on the C team. So he found time out of his busy schedule to come back and fuck us over on these C teams. If y'all remember Mike Cariff and I talking about the C teams, their entire designation of that was to fuck over the carrier because management doesn't file grievances, right? Labor doesn't file grievances. The union files grievances on our behalf. We are the ones who are aggrieved. The union is not aggrieved. The city letter carrier is the one aggrieved. So when you have these C teams come in by design, they're coming in to go into these places with all these cases, and they're going to start wholesaling these cases. When the formal Step A says we've got more money than we've ever gotten, you will obviously get a lot of money because when you go in and you have, say, well, let's use opting as a for instance. If you have opting violations and you have an escalated monetary award of $100, we've been dealing with this so long, we've escalated this award to $100. And so you have individuals that were taken off their ops, and they've been sitting here for a month, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. And then you go in and you start wholesaling these things. Carriers are going to start getting a lot of money because you're dealing with thousands of cases, right? Thousands of cases. And so obviously, yes, you'll get a lot of money. The problem is if you're getting $1,000, they're wholesaling this, you probably should have gotten $6,000. And that's what the presidents were upset about down there, is that they wholesaled all these cases. And that's because of the C team. And so Lou has 2 witnesses on to testify that they did it right. That, hey, when I took the responsibility on of coming back and being on this C team, we were getting people a lot of money. He was also at the Boston Convention. He was also did some training in Biloxi. He also talked about doing some advocate stuff. And so he was very busy with the union during this period of time when I was saying you should have been stepping up for the city letter carrier. If you love the city letter carrier, you should have been, instead of watching from afar. When I was saying, where were you? He was busy. He was busy. He was doing the C team, he was at the Boston Convention. He's been a lot of places. The one place he was not in the arena. And that's what I was pissed about when you say that you're watching from afar. I know that he came out with a story, very heartwarming, touching story. He's been in doing union things. He's been doing union things. And unfortunately, it's things that are fucking over the city letter carrier. And so I wanted to talk about that because I always say listen twice and speak once. He had 2 people get on there and corroborate what we were saying, that he was actually doing other things, the C team, and he supported my position by having 2 people on. Talked about another thing that was funny was he had Cliff Stoddard. I don't know if you know Cliff Stoddard, he's a good guy. But he's had him on there to say, is Steve a good business agent? Corey says that Steve's the worst there is. Is Steve a good business agent? And so Cliff was on there saying Steve is a great business agent. Now, Cliff is a good guy. He is. He's done a lot of good work for the union. Matter of fact, Cliff is one of the administrators on Jurassic Measures' Facebook page. And so he wasn't very hard to find for Lou to come on his show and be a character witness for Steve. Cliff is also used as the as outside steward and advocate. So Steve uses him. So I would doubt that Cliff would get on an episode and say that Steve is a piece of shit. And so now I know Cliff very well. And so I do like Cliff. Cliff is a good guy. Like I said, when Cliff first became advocate years ago, Cliff would call me constantly. Jason Ashley as well. I told them both, hey, call me if you ever need anything. So Cliff would call me when he'd have a case coming up, and I would talk to him for hours, walking around my route. He would call. We would do questioning, closing arguments. I'd send him sites that I knew of that would help. Jason Ashley was the same way. They would call me on Sundays. We'd talk most Sundays. If they had a case coming up, I would take the time to talk to both of them hours every day. And we would go over, like I said, openings. I would read their openings, witness testimony, cross-examination. And so I love doing that stuff, helping both of them out. So I know Cliff well, and he is a good guy, but we spent a lot of time together, both me, him, and Jason Ashley, like I said. We spent a lot of time on the phone, and we were on those teams and that we would send out Hattiesburg and Jackson and all that. We were on those teams together, had a lot of great experiences together. But as time went on, I turned against the establishment because the union was failing me and failing my brothers and sisters. And so we've kind of went our separate ways. And but Cliff is still used by Steve at the business agent's office. He still helps as outside steward and still is an advocate, and he's retired. And so, he's supplementing his income off of Steve. So he's not going to get on a podcast and say that Steve's a piece of shit. He's going to say whatever they want him to say, unfortunately. But I do like Cliff. I helped him a lot when he became advocate, and he's a sharp guy. What's funny is Cliff used to always get the shittiest of cases. He would get the shittiest of cases, and we would laugh about it because they were really shitty. You'd get a removal from somebody stealing that's got like 8 14-day suspensions, and that's the ones Cliff would get when he started out. And so he'd get down in the dumps, man, and I would always tell him, dude, fight. Cliff, fight, man. Arbitration is what it is. Do not get your head down. Don't hang your head. You keep fighting. And I always try to be supportive of that because I know how difficult it is in arbitration. And arbitrators will look at that as well. When you go into arbitration and you have a case that's a shitty case, a loser, and you're fighting your ass off, arbitrators will take notice of that you did not mail that in. And so that was what I was telling Cliff. You fight, brother. If there's a 1% chance you fight, that's union to me. That's an advocate to me. You fight. And so hundreds of hours I spent on the phone with Cliff and Jay when they first started out. Like I said, I'd always tell them, you call me. If you got any questions, you need any help, you call me. And so we would speak. I got a walking route. He'd call. We'd speak for hours while I was walking my route. They'd always laugh at me because I'd start doing a closing argument right there in front of them, because I'd get excited about it. And they'd be like, slow down, I'm writing this down. And so we used to have a lot of fun. I'm not establishment. I'm a city letter carrier. I have never made 6 figures. And so I don't work full time for the union, never have. And so there was a difference there. And like I said, Cliff is retired and he supplements his income based off of Steve using him as outside steward and as advocate. So Cliff's not going to go on any podcast and say the person who supplement my income is a piece of shit. And so what Lou should do, the people he should get on his episode are those that know best. Branch presidents. In Tennessee, take for instance, every one of the branch presidents in Tennessee, the major cities, are endorsing the CLC. There's a reason for that. It's because of the incompetence of the business agent down here in Region 8. they're not just going to endorse the CLC because they're just a bunch of good guys. It's because the region has let them down. You have Steve, who is a lackey, the most incompetent of lackeys. And so that's what he should do, is he should get those presidents to come on his podcast, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and have them say that Steve is doing a great job and that our region ain't shit. And that's what should happen. But Lou needs Steve to stay in office. Why? Because Steve is establishment. If you look at all the votes, he voted against the Constitution. He voted, however Renfro tells Steve to vote, Steve is going to vote. And so Lou's the same way. Lou is the establishment, right? I don't know whether to be honored or humiliated by the fact that Lou has come back out of retirement. They went and found him at the local bar and told him to come back and do a podcast. And so his first 2 or 3 episodes, he's come after me. I don't know whether to be flattered or humiliated, because you got somebody smart to come after me, but he's also a drunk. And so I'm like, should I take that as a compliment or not? That the only person you could find to come after me is obviously, anytime when you talk about Renfro throwing him under the bus, anytime you have a drunk snitching on a drunk, you're a drunk. And so I'm like, should I be humiliated or should I be flattered? And so, but Lou knows I love him. But his problem is that whoever he's talking to is giving him some terrible advice. I'll give you, for instance. And then this is to every advocate out there. Before I start this one, this is to every advocate out there. Don't ever speak about another advocate. Okay? I've been an advocate for 13 years, stepped down because I'm running for EVP, but kind of an unwritten rule. You don't ever speak about another advocate, ever, because you don't know. You don't know the preparation. You don't know, obviously, the arbitrator. They can give you some crazy-ass decisions. You don't ever speak about another advocate. Okay? That's just a golden rule. You don't ever do that. But Lou, he doesn't do that. Lou was talking about the JSOV case that I lost. And the problem is that he was talking amongst a group of people at the business agent's office, and one of those down there was JB. Now, if you know JB, that's my guy. And JB is the smartest individual I know currently as far as union stuff. I would put him over anybody else. And so Lou was talking about this case that I did, saying, Corey fucked this case up. Now, first off, Lou has no idea. He wasn't there. He didn't do the preparation. He wasn't anywhere around it. But he wanted to look, I don't know what he was doing, but if he wanted to look like he was smart or whatever, by telling this group of people that was at the business agent's office doing work, yeah, Corey fucked that case up. Although he would have no idea what he's talking about, because obviously he had nothing to do with the preparation. But he said this. They were talking about it. He said, that case in Henderson. When I say you listen twice, you speak once. That case in Henderson. Now, why is that important? When he says that case in Henderson, and I'm going to tell you about the establishment. When I got the decision from the arbitrator emailed it to me and to labor. Here's my decision, whatever, the award. I was going to Utah to speak at their state convention. And I get to Utah and I'm sitting with Mike Cariff. And Mike Cariff starts talking about a decision to me. And he's like, what happened in that decision? I have no idea what he's talking about, because I had no idea he was talking about the one I had just gotten. And so I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, that the JSOV case. And I said, the one I did? He said, yeah. I said, damn, how'd you get that? Because I just got it. And so then I realized that National was dispensing it to everybody. And didn't know why until later. And so I was coming home from there and I got an email. And it says, looks like National's taking a shot at you. And in this email, it was from It was from Region 13. And if you know anything about Region 13, they've got one of the most incompetent business agents there is. And so what the email was, it says, hey, when we're doing our training, our state training, our regional training, we're going to talk about this one particular case. And it was that JSOV case, mine. We're going to talk about this one case and everything that went wrong with it. And so then you kind of realize, all right, they're taking a swipe at me. Then I also heard that they're going to use that one case in their ACE training, whatever. And so, but what the email said was, we're going to talk about this case that was lost in Henderson. There's no place, there was no Henderson. That's not the place. It was my case. It was not Henderson. They got that wrong. And so Lou's down there in the business agent's office, and he's saying, you know, that case he lost in Henderson. So you realize that Lou and National had put this case out, or he had something to do with it, to send this case out, I guess trying to take a shot at me. The problem is they got the name of the place wrong. It's not Henderson. And so JB caught that, and he says, what are you talking about, Henderson? You know this case he did in Henderson. And JB lit his little ass up. He said, hold up, brother. You have no idea what you're talking about. Because they're talking about the witnesses. He said, I called constantly. Dana called constantly. Corey called constantly to get these few that could testify to testify. And not one would come testify. So you have no idea what you're talking about. So JB lit his ass up. Because that was kind of the thing going around is they're going to take a shot at Corey through this JSO, which is odd because I've lost 40. I mean, you can, that's very easy to go find any of my cases. You can say any case I lost that I fucked it up. And so, but this, I guess it's just, this was the latest case for me. And so Lou gets on his episode and he's talking about, I fucked this case up. First off, advocates, again, you don't ever talk about another advocate. That's stuff that labor does. And so JB would always, and I would always laugh at labor when we go to do arbitrations because they would just be dogging each other. They're the worst. They're this and that. And I would tell JB then, brother, don't ever do that, man. Because you don't know what the advocates go through, the preparation they go through. But Lou is an establishment bitch. And so he comes in and he's like, Corey, fuck this case up. He has no idea what he's talking about. But it shows you that they were in cahoots because Region 13, what do they say? Henderson. What does Lou say down at the business agent's office? That case in Henderson. It was not Henderson. If he would have talked to the business agent, Steve would have told him that there is no Henderson. It didn't happen in Henderson. So I always tell you to listen twice, speak once. People always show their hand. So Lou had no idea what he was talking about there, but I thought that was funny, is the Henderson. Another thing he was talking about was HIP. This is another thing that he's getting terrible advice from somebody. But when you talk about this HIP case, he said that Corey was sold it out or something like that about this HIP case, and I didn't get a cease and desist and whatever. Again, it shows you that Lou is getting terrible advice from somebody, and he needs to fire his handlers. And so the thing about HIP, Lou, is you can't talk about HIP because when we were in it, you were not. You're at the C team fucking us over. So you cannot speak about HIP, ever. Because when we were educating people on this podcast about HIP, you were MIA. You were fucking us over for the establishment. So you cannot speak about HIP, ever. Okay? Because you had nothing to do with it. Matter of fact, we were letting people know on this episode, or on these podcasts, that making them aware of the HIP falsification and the grievances to be filed because of HIP falsification. The steps management went through, the 12 steps management went through to falsify this. We were doing that here while you were MIA, while you were at the C team fucking us over. We were doing that here, okay? You talk about money. It was never about the money. If you would have listened to the episodes rather than fucking us over at the C team, you would have heard the money was to force it to arbitration. It was never about the money. So anybody ever talking about it was about the money was not listening to the episodes, right? And so what it was about was we were wanting to get arbitrators to acknowledge the falsification. Why? Because your protege, Renfro, refused to acknowledge the falsification. He said it looks like there's discrepancies. Management was saying that it was not falsified. So the city letter carriers took it upon themselves to educate themselves nationwide through this podcast. And we were saying that it was intentionally falsified. We want arbitrators to acknowledge the falsification of it. It was not about the money. And so I said that numerous times it was not about the money. And so he said that I sold out the arbitration. I pre-arbed it. Here's where he's mistaken. Here's the decision by the DRT. When he talks about, I didn't get a cease and desist. I sold it out. Because Lewis, the establishment, and they don't care what they say, right? He's a lying drunk, and whoever's telling him is not helping him out at all. And so here's the B team decision from the arbitration. What they impassed was the remedy, was the monetary award. But here's the decision. The dispute resolution team has decided to declare an impasse in part. They impassed the monetary award. The Step B team agrees management violated Articles 3, 5, and 14 of the National Agreement and or ELM Chapter 8 and Handbook EL 801 via Article 19 of the National Agreement when they falsified fiscal year 2023 heat injury prevention plan HIP training records. Management will cease and desist these violations and will ensure all disputed training has been completed by letter carriers in this installation in compliance with the above referenced contractual provisions as soon as administratively possible, but no later than 14 days from receipt of this decision. Now that's obviously something that somebody didn't tell Lou, right? Because Lou gets on there and says what? He didn't get a cease and desist. He sold them out. Didn't have to. They'd already gotten one on the decision. Because this sets precedent for that installation. I'll read that again. Because do you know where they got these issue statements from, Lou? This podcast. Nationwide, we were doing that. We were educating people on HIP and the falsification of HIP. Nationwide. And you know what else, Lou? A lot of installations got all the money they asked for. Because at the smaller stations, management didn't want that going up there and falsified it. Do you know who told them that? We did here. Did you? No. You were fucking us over at the C team. That's what you're doing. So while we were trying to educate people here on how to file these HIP grievances, your fucking ass was down there in the C team fucking over my region again, like you did in 2010. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I'll read this again for Lou. And like I said, you need to fire your handlers because they're not helping you. And they're not helping me because I'm telling people you're smart. And hell, you're making me look stupid by doing dumb shit. But here it is again. The dispute resolution team has decided to declare an impasse in part. Again, they impassed the monetary award. The Step B team agrees management violated Articles 3, 5, and 14 of the National Agreement and or ELM Chapter 8 and Handbook EL 801 via Article 19 of the National Agreement when they falsified fiscal year 2023 heat injury prevention plan training records. So they acknowledged that they falsified it. That's the reason we wanted it to go to arbitration, so that an arbitrator would acknowledge that these things had been falsified. Again, why? Because your protege refused to do that. He refused to do that. The establishment refused to do that. And so it says management will cease and desist these violations. It will ensure all disputed training has been completed by the letter carriers in this installation in compliance with the above referenced contractual provisions as soon as administratively possible, but no later than 14 days from receipt of this decision. Employees who are absent when the training is provided are required to be provided with the training prior to returning to street duties. The DRT also agrees management violated Articles 17 and 30 of the National Agreement when they failed to provide the union with all the information it requested. And so do you know where they got that issue statement, Lou? We gave that out on this podcast when we were educating while you were fucking us over at the C team, right? While you were watching from afar. So when you were at the C team fucking everybody in my region, we were trying to educate the country on HIP training and the HIP falsification. So you cannot speak about HIP, Lou, because your ass was drunk, standing on the sidelines watching. When I talk about the man in the arena, you're the ultimate when it comes to the man in the arena. You're the ultimate. I've been sitting by watching while I was at the C team fucking everybody over, and then I'm going to come in later and chastise people and talk about people like with this joint statement case. You had nothing to do with that. You also told about the joint statement case that it should have been withdrawn. And that's the problem we have with National now, is that this we may lose mentality, and I've talked about that over and over again. Lou Drass is the ultimate at the we may lose. He said that case should have been withdrawn. First off, I will never withdraw a case if JB is the formal step A ever. Those 100% of those will go to arbitration if I have JB as a witness. To me, he's the smartest individual in the NELC. He knows more about programs and things like that than anybody I've ever known. He's the smartest person there is, by far. And any case he has, I'm going to go to arbitration. So you're not going to disrespect him by saying I should withdraw a case, because you don't know JB. He's smarter than you will ever be as far as current things. You've been out of the game too fucking long. Secondly, if I've got 1% chance to win, I'm going to fight. And that's just how I am. I'm going to fight. I'm not a cowardly piece of shit like you and the others in the establishment. Those that say we should have withdrawn it. I say you fight. If you take every case forward that's 100% winner, you'll probably have a pretty good record. That's not how arbitration works, though. Anybody that's been in arbitration understands that. Every case is 50-50. And that's the mentality we're going to get out of this union, is that we may lose mentality. Do you know what case, the other case Lou said should have been withdrawn? And Jason Ashley can tell you, now he may get on this episode and say, that was never said to me. Cliff Stoddard can tell you, and he may get on there and say, that was never said to me. Do you know what the other case was that Lou said should be withdrawn? Hattiesburg. The first one we did with the team. Jason Ashley, Cliff Stoddard, and I went down to Hattiesburg and got that manager removed. One of the worst ones they've seen. He said we should have withdrawn that one. Why? Because we didn't have a trigger. We didn't have an event that could be lead up to the 14 days. And we were saying, hey, we put a lot of work into this. We're running with it. We all talked amongst each other. We're running with this case. Memphis was another case that they didn't think we could win. They came to me and I said, I can win it. Let's go forward with Memphis. We can win this thing. And so, yes, I will always fight. I will always choose to fight. If it was up to you, Lou, we wouldn't have won Hattiesburg because you said we should have withdrawn that. We are not dealing with cowardice anymore on this workroom floor. And as far as this union is concerned, we're not dealing with cowardice anymore like you and those that came before you. Those days are over with, brother. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't understand what's happened since you've been gone, since you're on the C team fucking us over. You don't understand the movement that's happened. We're getting rid of the cowardice like yourself. He also had a gentleman named Fred Qualls. Now, if y'all remember, I was telling that Lou sold us out in 2010, the B team. So he had, I guess it was Fred. Now, Lou, let me tell you something. You need to get a Zoom. Do the Zoom when you're going to record people. I've learned the hard way. I used to have people rubber banded to my microphone because I didn't know how to do that. But we can hardly understand who your people are on there. It's hard to hear them. And so get a Zoom account and record through that, and we can hear better. But it was allegedly Fred Qualls gets on there and says that Lou never told me to tank a case. And now Fred Qualls is the B team person I've been telling you about from 2010. And on my family's life, my grandson's, my kid's life, Fred Qualls, in the doorway of IBEW local, that's where we meet for our union meets. In the doorway of that, I confronted Fred Qualls and asked him why he was tanking our cases, why he was fucking over our cases. And he told me to my face it was Lou Drass telling him not to impasse anything. That's on my life. So he can have whoever he wants to come on there and say that. On my life and my family's life. Fred Qualls in the doorway of IBEW local 15 years ago, almost to the day. told me to my face, Lou Drass told him not to impasse any cases. So whoever he wants to have come on there can come on there. That's what happened. He also said that he didn't interfere with the election down there with his daughter. Do this for me, Lou. Do this for me. Have the president down there, Michael Schubert, have him come on your episode, and you tell him that you didn't interfere with that election. Do that, all right, and see what he says. And see if he doesn't name names of people that you called. The problem is, Lou, is that you're resorting to lying to people rather than just telling the truth. Just tell the truth. Fuck. Every time I come on here, I'm going to catch you lying. And that's what we're going to do, just like with this pre-Rs, just like with this JSOV, all these things. I get it. The establishment went into the local bar, found you, told you, hey, we need you to come out to court, and you're doing that, but you're getting bad advice, brother. I love you too much to see that. You're getting bad advice from people, all right? But have Michael Schubert come on, the guy that was president down there, and ask him. Y'all have a discussion about it. Do that, all right? So I expect that from you. Don't get somebody that's working out of the business agent's office or on your administration on your Facebook page to come be a character witness. All right. And so have people that are real, like Schubert. Have him come on there. Get any of the presidents from the branches in Tennessee and have them come on there and say that Steve's doing a good job. Man, I don't know what if you realize this since you've been gone fucking us over on the C team, but our region is shit right now. And there's a reason everybody is supporting the CLC is because our region is shit. All right? And so I love you, brother, man. I hope you have a great podcast. I hope you do a lot of educating. You're getting bad information, man. You're getting bad information. What's that show where the guys are in this back office or in a back room and it's a comedy? And they'll have somebody out front and they're telling them to ask questions or telling them to say things. Do you know what I'm talking about? They'll be like, hey, ask them to do this. And then they'll have the person out front that they'll do it. That's Lou. Somebody in a back office is telling him, say this. And Lou will just say it, not knowing if it's right or not. Say this. And you'll have Lou just as the parrot, just saying things. And so that's where we are right now with Jurassic Measures, is Lou is the parrot. Whatever they're telling him to say, just like Henderson. There is no Henderson. But that's something that Region 13 had come out with, kind of their talking point, is we're going to go after this case. Corey did this case, lost it, and it's from Henderson. It is not Henderson. And so just like that, whatever they're telling Lou to say, he's going to say it. And so God bless him. One of the worst things he said, though, and this kind of tells you where we're at with the establishment, is that he said that he was disappointed in Renfro. And I think that when you say you're disappointed in Renfro, sums up everything with Lou Drass and his establishment, who he is as far as the establishment. That sounds like some Leave It to Beaver type shit. I'm just disappointed in him. Here's a guy who has wrecked the city letter carrier craft since he's been in there. Has absolutely wrecked the city letter carrier craft. The negligence on Renfro's part as far as wrecking us, the things that he's implemented that has wrecked us, this TA, which was complete shit. The things that I could go on and on and on. I've done it in all kind of episodes about the things that he's done. And Lou says he's disappointed. Now you have a city letter carrier, me, who, I was asked to be an advocate, done that. Was asked to be a formal aide, did that. Now, he will say that a decision that came out he knew nothing about, he'll go down there in amongst a group of people and say, Corey fucked that up. But when you look at somebody who has absolutely devastated the city letter carrier craft, unlike anybody in our history, Renfro, when you look at the things that he has done to us, and you have the establishment lackey, Lou, say, I'm disappointed. That tells you all you need to know. He will go after a city letter carrier. He fucked that up. But when it's Renfro, I'm just disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in Renfro for, it's almost like Jeffrey Dahmer's parents saying all the shit that he's done. I'm just disappointed in him. I'm just disappointed in our son. That's Lou. I'm disappointed in him. But it will always be the establishment, protecting the establishment. Lou has come back to make the establishment relevant again. They had nowhere to go. You're talking about you're disappointed in a guy who has absolutely devastated the city letter carrier craft, and you're disappointed in him. Lou is here for one reason and one reason only, to make the establishment relevant again. The problem is that he has stumbled out of the gate because people that are telling him things are not telling him the truth and not telling him the full story. And I hate that for Lou, because I do think the world of Lou. Lou has a problem, and I hope that he gets help with that problem. Everybody knows it. But the biggest problem is not his alcoholism, but the biggest problem is that he's come back in this swinging wildly, getting things from people that are not telling him the full story. And I get it. Like I said, I understand the politics of it, Lou. I really do understand the politics of it. Y'all have to come after me because y'all think that I'm somebody important. I'm not. I'm a city letter carrier on here doing a podcast. And so, but you've come out of the gate swinging blindly, and you're getting bad information, brother, from people. You need to make sure you have the whole story, because I do. I know me better than anybody else. I know the things that I've done better than anybody else. Have I failed things? Oh, yeah. You can keep digging on me, brother. Keep digging as much as you want to. You're going to find a lot of shit that I've fucked up, right? As a city letter carrier, you can find a lot of shit that I've fucked up. Because I'm not an expert at anything, and I've always said that. I'm not an expert at anything. Have I given 100% in everything I've done? You damn right. Do I love the city letter carrier with all my heart? You fucking A right. And so everything I ever do, I'm going to give 110% on it. That's just how I am. As a shop steward, Formula A advocate, I'm going to give 110%. You can go through all my 40 losses and say I fucked up all those. I'll tell you that. Could I have done something different or better? Absolutely. Did I take chances I probably shouldn't have? You know it. That's just who I am. But I think you're a disgrace, my brother, for the things that you've done to fuck us over back in 2010, coming back on the C team. I think you're fucking pathetic. You're an establishment lackey, and we're going to get rid of all of y'all, Lou. We are. We're going to get rid of alcoholism and drug abuse and all these other things when we take over. And the city letter carrier, like I said, they're going to be happy with their union again. They're going to be proud of their union again. I get it that you have not been relevant for a while, that you're trying to get your name back out there. Those that know union for a while know Lou Drass. New people don't know him, and so you're going to try to get your name out there by my name. And I get that. I do. But, brother, I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm going to be the next EVP of this union. I know that. And James Henry will be the next president. I do know that. And the likes of you, Lou, I hope you get yourself some help. I hope you get some treatment for yourself. It's long overdue, man. Anybody that knows you for any period of time knows it's long overdue. And I hope that you do, because one day maybe you'll have a place again, because you're too damn smart. You're too damn smart to be this damn stupid. All right? And so make sure you have, like when people say, for instance, on the pre-arb, make sure say, well, give me the case file, just to make sure that what I'm fixing to put out there is right, because it wasn't, And secondly, you can't talk about HIP because you're MIA. You're watching from afar while we were educating here on HIP and how to address HIP. And just like the JSOV case, say, maybe I should talk to somebody first that was part of that before I come out with my ignorance. That's just something for you, all right? You've been out of the game a long time. I get it. But the establishment is dead. They are dead and gone. The establishment has come after the city letter carrier before. I know y'all have heard of shithouse lawyers. That was that comment was made by a retired national officer that called us shithouse lawyers because we were bringing up Renfro to the national convention and the things that he had been doing, trying to alert people, make people aware through the charges that Renfro is failing us and has failed us. And so a national officer gets up there and calls us shithouse lawyers. They will always attack the rank and file, the establishment, because they have to stay empowered. Lou's no different. He will attack the rank and file. Why? Because the establishment has to protect the establishment. It's just that it's too late. It's too late for y'all to get in the game. Y'all been standing by watching for too long. And the city letter carrier, the movement is too strong and it's too far along. I appreciate you getting back in the game. Man, I hope you do have a lot of education on your podcast. I look forward to it. You need to fire your handlers. Fire your handlers, brother. They've rolled you out of the local bar and told you, here's a microphone, here's your talking points. You need to do research on your talking points, all right? And so I look forward to your next episode. Hope you have some more witnesses on there. And some more people on there to talk about me and different things. Steve's going to lose as the business agent. He won't even win an election out of his own office. That's how unpopular he is. You know it, and I know it. The business agent's office knows it. He wouldn't even win an election out of that office. Renfro is going to lose. You know it, I know it, and everybody knows it. He's going to lose. The establishment is losing this next election. The city letter carriers are taking back over this union, and there's not shit you or anybody else can do. I've always said we will meet you motherfuckers in the street, and that's what we will do. The city letter carrier is tired of being run the fuck over by the Postal Service and by our union, and we are taking this motherfucker back over. You can say whatever in the fuck you want to say from here on out, brother. Y'all are done. You are done. The city letter carrier has strapped the fuck up. And we're going to meet you motherfuckers in the street, and that's just the way it is, all right? City letter carriers, take care of yourselves, okay? We've got to take care of ourselves. I love you dearly. I really do. And we're going to take this thing back over. And we're going to hand it back into people that are competent again, people that you can be proud of, people that you don't have to worry about where they're sleeping at night, laying at night, what they're doing. And so you'll be proud of the union again, okay? I love you very much, city letter carriers. And so, hey, you got my number. Call me. If you need to talk, call me. I put numbers out there for you. Reach out to people if you're hurting. Reach out to people. Okay, city letter carriers, I don't want to hear of another one of us taking our own lives. I don't want to hear about it. I love you too much. Heat stress, heat safety. All right? Today is chapter 1. Scanner messages. We got to grieve them, okay? Take care of ourselves. Take care of each other. I love you. I'll talk to y'all Wednesday. Okay? Wednesday, the Lion's Den. All right? I love you. Talk to y'all later. Bye.